now I'm asking myself, is the future of the art institution not something in between, a kind of hybrid between, on the one hand, this nautilus, the knowledge of the past, that somehow still protects tradition, keeps certain things of the past that were valuable, certain methods, certain insights, but at the same time has the ability and the curiosity of the drunken ship, the intoxicated ship in the end, that has this openness to react to what happens at the moment itself, not really thinking about the results, or not really thinking about the future, or not really thinking about how it's connected to the past, just acting at the moment. So the art institution somewhere between a kind of nostalgia and drunkenness, between this idea of order, but at the same time the intoxicated state of being. Of course, these are only images, these are only metaphors, but I have the impression that they can help us to project ourselves, and especially the future of the art institution, in the sense that it gives us a kind of idea of what it could be. What are the tensions at this moment? These tensions, I don't think they can be resolved. We have to live in the tension in a certain way and try to see what we can make out of it. And what I would like to do in the second part of my talk is to try to explain how we try to do that in a concrete way in Antwerp, in our art institution, which is a theatre. And I should say first that Het Toneelhuis, which means theatre house, is one of the big municipal theatres in Flanders. We have three big ones: Brussels, Antwerp, and Ghent. And of the three, we get the most money. So it's the most subsidized theatre in Flanders, which also could mean that it could take the least risks, because we have most of the tax money in Norway, and that is it's a serious amount. We get the same from the state and from the city of Antwerp, and that's 2 times 3 million euro. So it's 6 million euro subsidies. That's not a little sum in comparison to big theatres in France and Germany. It is little, it's true, but in the context of Flanders, it's quite a lot of money. It also means that we are constantly in the focus. Whatever happens in the theatre, it's in the newspapers or in the news. The slightest shift, the slightest move, it's really the center. And it's up to 2006, it used to be a traditional structure. I'm not talking about the artistic choices, they were not traditional, but the structure was traditional in the sense that it was the head of the theatre was a director, and you had an ensemble of actors. And he made with those actors 2-3 performances a year, and then in the margin there were some younger directors who could also make performances on the second stage. It was a big stage and a small stage. And the big stage is a theatre in the center, in the heart of Antwerp. It can take up to 750 spectators, so rather big. Then in 2006, a new team arrived and decided to change the whole artistic structure. The new director, Röhhska Museum, he decided to invite 6 other theatre makers. So we do not have an ensemble of actors anymore. We now have an ensemble of 7 theatre makers. And that's a completely new model. Because we decided that these 7 makers, that they had to be very diverse. We have theatre makers who concentrate on text theatre. We have performance artists in the restricted sense of that word. We have a choreographer. We we have theatre makers who are busy in music theatre, and we have video artists. So it's a very interdisciplinary group. They're very individualistic. That's going to be a very important point in developing the rest of my story. They're very individualistic artists. They're also very young. They're all in the beginning of their 30s. So it's a new generation. The director, you can see, is 47, so he's still young, but maybe one generation older. So he asked 6 of these young theatre makers to come and work with him. And we decided that it would be in a non-hierarchical structure, meaning all 7 artists are equal. So when we talk about Toneelhuis, we talk about 7 faces. And that's also how we try to do the communication to the public. It's not one artist and then he invited 6. No, there are 7 artists. The starting point was the autonomy. These are words you already heard. Autonomy of the artist, meaning that Toneelhuis sees itself as a structure that will try to frame and to support and to work out what the artist wants. These 7. We want to develop 7 different lines. That of course has a lot of consequences because we have to think about everything 7 times. I mean, how to reach the public, it's different, how to do the communication, how to do the international presentation, how to do the technical or the dramaturgical support. So 7 times. Of course, that caused a lot of, we've been busy now for 2 years and a half, a lot of clashes between an existing structure, because we, of course, came into a theatre that had a tradition, had a history, had a structure of working, and all of a sudden there's this enormous shift, and there are 6 or 7 wild animals, in a way, who are going to tell the others how it should be done. That caused a lot of clashes, and I think that after 2 years, most of these clashes are solved. We are finding a way now of dealing with this thing, because you can imagine it's a lot of negotiation, a lot of compromise, sometimes not compromise. It's not always easy how to deal with that, because it's often conflict, confrontation, and the question how to turn that into a dialogue, constructive dialogue. So this idea of a non-hierarchical structure is very important, and the idea of the autonomy of the artist. But at the same time, and that's also starting to happen, what we would like to happen is, of course, that these artists who did not know each other before, or not all, some knew each other, others did not, that we would like, of course, them to work together, but in an organic way. Not that it's going to be decided that next year these 2 are going to work together and the year after it's these 2, because it would, as an interesting concept. No, we would like them to, through the discussion, through the looking at the work of each other, being present at meetings, at rehearsals, that they get an interest into each other and that they start doing that. And that is starting.